everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty fascinating. It's China's AI explosion. Now, before you tune out and think, oh, this is way too technical for me, I want to assure you this is not just about algorithms and chips. It's really about understanding like a force that's shaping the future, your future. And honestly, it is mind-blowing stuff.
It really is. We're talking about a country that's determined to be the global leader in AI by 2030. Think about that. Not just like catching up, but surpassing everyone else.
Okay, so let's unpack that ambition a little bit. We've got some incredible sources here, reports on China's national AI strategy, insights from companies like Microsoft and Google who are actually trying to navigate this landscape, and even glimpses into what like homegrown giants like Baidu and Tencent are up to.
And what's fascinating is that while the U.S. is often seen as like leading in AI research, China's strength is really in implementation. They have this massive population that generates just huge amounts of data, which is like gold for AI. And they're not afraid to just put AI to work everywhere, in every corner of society.
So it's less about theory and more about action, which is a pretty different approach.
Exactly. And this difference is apparent when you look at the sectors that they're focusing on. Take autonomous vehicles, for example. China's vision is to have bustling cities filled with self-driving cars. And they're making serious strides towards that goal.
So, I mean, are we going to be visiting Shanghai or Beijing in a few years and hailing a robotaxi? As normal as catching a bus is for us now.
It's entirely possible. Another area where China's pushing boundaries is facial recognition technology. They've already integrated it into everything from security systems to like payment platforms.
That's a bit unsettling, to be honest. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie where everybody's constantly being watched.
Yeah, it definitely raises questions about privacy and surveillance, but it also shows how aggressively China is pushing the real-world application of AI, even if it sparks some controversy.
Speaking of navigating tricky situations, let's talk about the big U.S. players in this game. Microsoft, for instance, they've had a presence in China for a while now, right?
Oh, absolutely. They opened a research lab in China, Microsoft Research Asia, way back in 1998. Think about that. Years before the current AI boom even began, they were already laying the groundwork.
Wow, 1998. That's some serious foresight. So they've got this deep understanding on the Chinese market. What are they focusing on these days?
Well, they've been making waves in cloud computing and AI-powered translation services specifically designed for Mandarin. They're also collaborating with Chinese universities and research institutions, which helps them tap into the local talent pool.
So it sounds like they're playing a smart but delicate game, trying to innovate and thrive in this really unique environment.
It is a balancing act. They have to be mindful of both China's data policies and U.S. regulations, which can sometimes be at odds.
Now, Google's story is a bit more complicated, isn't it? I mean, Google search is banned in China, so how are they even involved?
It seems counterintuitive, but they haven't given up on China completely. They recognize that Chinese developers are really enthusiastic about open-source AI tools, particularly TensorFlow, which is a platform that Google created.
Okay, I'm going to need a quick explainer on that one. What exactly are open-source AI tools, and why is TensorFlow such a big deal?
So open source means the underlying code is freely available for anyone to use, modify, and distribute. Think of it like a shared recipe that developers around the world can use to build their own AI applications. TensorFlow is one of the most popular and powerful platforms for doing this.
So Google is kind of influencing China's AI development indirectly, even though their main product is blocked.
Exactly. They opened an AI center in China in 2017, specifically focused on TensorFlow and engaging with the Chinese developer community.
That's a pretty clever strategy, but I imagine it comes with its own set of challenges, considering the tensions between the US and China.
Absolutely. Google, like Microsoft, has to be very cautious about how it operates in China, particularly given concerns about data security and potential misuse of AI technology.
It's like they're walking this tightrope, trying to be part of this booming AI scene, while also dealing with all these political and ethical complexities.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just Microsoft and Google in this game. China has its own homegrown tech giants who are becoming major players in AI. Companies you've probably heard of: Baidu, Tencent, and Alibaba.
Right, those are the names you see popping up everywhere. So let's dive into what these homegrown giants are doing. What's Baidu's claim to fame in the AI world?
Baidu is making massive bets on two key areas: self-driving cars and AI-powered search. Their self-driving car project, called Apollo, is like their answer to Google's Waymo or Tesla's Autopilot.
So they're not just dipping their toes in the water, they're diving headfirst into the autonomous vehicle race. What makes them think they can compete with companies like Tesla that have a global reputation?
Well, remember, Google search is not available in China. So Baidu has a huge advantage in the search market. That means they have access to mountains of data on how people move and what they search for, which is incredibly valuable for developing self-driving systems.
So they're using their dominance in one area search to fuel their ambitions in another, self-driving cars.
Exactly. And they're taking it even further. They're developing their own AI chips called Kunlun chips, which are designed to power their AI applications. This is significant because most companies rely on chips from companies like NVIDIA, but Baidu is trying to become self-sufficient.
So they're not just building the software, they're creating the hardware too. It's like they're building an entire AI ecosystem from the ground up.
That's a great way to think about it. And that ambition is what makes Baidu such a formidable player in China's AI landscape.
So we've been talking about Baidu's big ambitions in AI, especially their push into self-driving cars and developing their own chips. It really makes you realize like the scale of what's happening in China right now.
It's truly remarkable, but, let's broaden the perspective for a moment. What does China's AI surge means for the global landscape? Because this isn't just a regional phenomenon. It has implications for everyone.
Okay, paint a picture for me. What are the stakes here? Like what happens if China really does become the dominant force in AL?
Well, imagine a world where the most innovative AI applications, from healthcare breakthroughs to smart cities, are coming out of China. This would shift the balance of power in the tech sector, which, as you know, drives so much of the global economy.
So we're not just talking about who has the coolest gadgets. We're talking about who has the economic and potentially even political leverage.
Exactly. AI is going to be a key driver of economic growth in this century, and countries that control this technology will have a significant advantage in industries ranging from manufacturing and finance to healthcare and transportation.
It's almost like whoever masters AI will be holding the keys to the future.
In a way, yes. And this is why the U.S. is taking China's AI ambitions very seriously. Now, there's a sense of urgency to maintain its technological edge, which has led to some tension and even a bit of a tech rivalry between the two countries.
We're seeing things like sanctions on Chinese tech companies and a race to attract top AI talent. It sounds like the makings of a new kind of Cold War, but fought on the technological front.
Yeah, that's a concern that some experts have raised. But, amidst all this competition, there's also a recognition that collaboration might be necessary. After all, both the U.S. and China face similar challenges when it comes to ensuring AI is developed and used ethically.
It makes sense. If AI is going to have such a profound impact on the world, wouldn't it be better to work together to address those challenges rather than going it alone?
Absolutely, there's a growing realization that global cooperation is crucial, especially when it comes to setting standards for AI safety and preventing its misuse.
So there's a glimmer of hope for a more collaborative approach, even with all the geopolitical tension.
Yes, there are initiatives underway to foster dialogue and find common ground on AI governance. It's a complex process, but a necessary one.
Okay, so let's assume for a moment that collaboration wins out. Are there still concerns that we should be thinking about?
Definitely. Even with the best intentions, AI raises ethical questions that need careful consideration. One of the biggest concerns is the potential for job displacement.
That's something I've been thinking about a lot. As AI becomes more sophisticated, it seems inevitable that it will automate many jobs that humans currently do.
It's a valid concern, and it's not just about blue-collar jobs. AI is already being used in fields like law and finance to automate tasks that were previously done by highly skilled professionals.
So what does this mean for the average person? Like, are we all going to be replaced by robots?
It's not about robots taking over, but rather about how we adapt to a changing job market. We need to think about retraining and upskilling, focusing on areas where human skills are still essential.
So things like creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence, the stuff that AI can't quite replicate yet?
Exactly. Those skills will become even more valuable in an AI-powered world.
Okay, that's somewhat reassuring. But I can't help but wonder, are those specific industries where we're already seeing AI having a major impact, either in China or globally?
Oh, absolutely. Healthcare is a prime example. China is using AI to diagnose diseases, develop new treatments, and personalize patient care.
I've read about AI systems that can analyze medical images and detect things like cancer cells with incredible accuracy. It's almost like having a superhuman doctor on your side.
It's amazing technology, and it's already being deployed in hospitals across China. They have the potential to save lives and improve health outcomes for millions of people.
It makes you wonder if we'll see a future where going to the doctor involves interacting more with AI-powered systems than with human physicians.
It's certainly a possibility, but the role of the human doctor will likely evolve. Rather than disappear, AI can handle tasks like analyzing data and suggesting diagnoses. But human doctors will still be needed to provide compassionate care and make complex decisions.
That makes sense. So healthcare is one area where AI is already making its presence felt. What are some other industries we should be paying attention to?
Manufacturing is another sector that's being transformed by AI. China is using AI to automate production lines, optimize supply chains, and improve product quality.
I've heard about factories in China that are almost entirely run by robots. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It's becoming more and more common. These smart factories are more efficient, productive, and flexible than traditional factories. They can also adapt to changing market demands much more quickly.
So it's like AI is giving China a competitive edge in manufacturing, which could have ripple effects on the global economy.
Exactly. As Chinese manufacturers become more efficient and produce goods at lower costs, companies in other countries will need to innovate and find ways to keep up.
It sounds like we're entering a new era of global competition, driven by AI.
It's certainly a possibility. And it's not just manufacturing. We're seeing AI being integrated into finance, transportation, education, even entertainment. It's really touching every aspect of our lives.
It's a lot to take in, honestly. I'm both excited and a little bit intimidated by all this change.
I understand it's a lot to process, but what's important is that we stay informed, engaged, and adaptable. This is a dynamic landscape, and we need to be ready for whatever comes next.
Welcome back to our deep dive into China's AI surge.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the specific ways AI is being used in China to the broader global implications.
Yeah, and we've touched on some pretty big questions about the future of work and the ethical considerations that we need to grapple with.
Now in this final part, I think it's time to bring it all home.
You mean, like, what does this actually mean for me sitting here listening?
Exactly. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, but ultimately AI's impact is going to be felt on an individual level.
Okay, so no more hypotheticals. Let's get personal. How is China's AI rise going to affect my life, and what can I do about it?
Well, first, it's important to remember that AI isn't some far-off futuristic concept. It's already here, woven into the fabric of our daily lives, even if we don't always realize it.
Okay, so we've talked about the big examples, like healthcare and manufacturing. But are there ways that AI is already affecting me, without me even knowing it?
Think about the personalized recommendations you get when you shop online, the way your social media feeds are curated, or even the spam filters that keep your inbox clean. These are all powered by AI algorithms.
Wow, I hadn't really thought about it that way. So in a sense, we're already interacting with AI on a daily basis, whether we're conscious of it or not.
Exactly. And as China continues to invest heavily in AI, its influence on these everyday experiences is only going to grow.
Okay, so it's not about if AI will affect my life, but how. And that brings us back to the question, what can I do to prepare for this AI-powered future?
Well, one of the most important things is to embrace lifelong learning. The job market is changing rapidly, and the skills that are in demand today might be obsolete tomorrow.
So it's not enough to just get a degree and call it a day. We need to constantly be learning new things and adapting to new technologies.
Exactly. And the good news is there are tons of resources available to help you do just that. Online learning platforms offer courses on everything, from coding to data analysis to digital marketing.
So it's almost like the skills we need to thrive in an AI-powered world are just a few clicks away.
That's a great way to put it. Another important thing is to not be afraid to experiment with AI tools. There are so many amazing AI-powered apps and services out there that can make your life easier and more productive.
Do you have any favorites? Like, what are some examples of AI tools that I might actually find useful in my everyday life?
Oh, there are so many. For example, there are AI-powered language translation apps that can break down communication barriers, image editing tools that can enhance your photos with a single click, and even personal finances that can help you budget and save money.
It's like having a team of virtual assistants at your fingertips.
Exactly. And as AI technology continues to advance, these tools will only become more powerful and intuitive.
So it sounds like one of the keys to thriving in an AI-powered world is to embrace the technology and learn how to use it to our advantage.
Absolutely. But it's also important to be mindful of the ethical implications of AI. As we discussed earlier, AI is a powerful tool that can be used for both good and bad.
Right. We talked about concerns around job displacement, privacy, and even the potential for AI to be used in discriminatory ways.
Exactly. So it's up to all of us to demand that AI is developed and used responsibly, with fairness, transparency, and accountability as guiding principles.
So it's not just about learning to use AI, but also about shaping the way it's used in society. That makes sense.
And finally, in all this talk about AI and technology, it's important not to lose sight of what makes us human. AI is a tool, but it can't replace human ingenuity, creativity, and empathy.
So those uniquely human skills will be even more important in the future, not less.
Precisely. In fact, I think the most successful people in an AI-powered world will be those who can combine their technical skills with their human skills.
So the key takeaway here is that the rise of AI, particularly in China, presents both challenges and opportunities.
It's up to each of us to embrace those opportunities, mitigate the risks, and ultimately shape the future of AI in a way that benefits all of humanity.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring this topic with you. I feel like I've gained a much deeper understanding of China's AI ambitions and what they mean for the world.
And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation. The AI landscape is constantly evolving, so stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
Well, if there's one thing our listeners take away from this deep dive, I hope it's that the future of AI is not something that's happening to us. It's something we're all creating together.
And the choices we make today will determine what that future looks like. So let's choose wisely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into China's AI surge. Until next time.